Evolutionary theory rests upon multiple logical fallacies. The big one is making assumptions. We assume that these things happen, even though science says we're supposed to be able to observe it and repeat it if it's true science. Well, conveniently, millions of years over time change, we can't repeat that, of course. The other large fallacy it rests on is fallacy of clarity. That's when you use ambiguous words and you don't define between the two, like microevolution, aka variation, is the same as macroevolution given enough time. Okay, that's two totally different uses of the word evolution. Or planetary chemical evolution. I mean, these things are totally different meanings than a variation. Okay, now another example of this is mutation. Yeah, I remember my science book when I was a kid. I remember the four-winged fly picture in it, and it said, this is an example of mutation, boys and girls. Now, this mutation is not helpful to the fly, but mutations like it over hundreds of thousands and millions of years are what cause species to change. Well, the problem is you're conflating the word mutation. On the one hand, and I'll show you a site in a minute, you talk about mutations as dominant recessive traits. A kid can pop out with something neither of their parents had. This is amazing. And then you go and compare it to a chromosomal typo error in the DNA copying, and you realize this type of mutation is a loss of information. Richard Dawkins explained perfectly how mutation over millions of years led to all of the species we have today. But when he was asked to name one mutation that added new information, he couldn't do it. Yeah, even viruses that mutate and become antibiotic resistant, it's because of a loss of information. Just for an example of a scientific site, you have a site like Mutant fruit flies. And they're immediately talking about dominant recessive traits and how flies can be different than their parents. And then you go down a little way and you talk about, then it talks about these vestigial wings is another type of that mutation that isn't helpful. Fallacy of clarity.